we use more than 3 times in our American households the energy that the Northern Europeans are using. So part of the work that needs to be done are the policies of our lawmakers, and it looks like there's more political will right now in Washington than there has been previously, which is a very positive environment to be doing all of the work that all of you are doing right now. So one of the things that prompted Richard to decide to start this particular project is that when the scientific information came out about 2 years ago, I think all of us were pretty much aching to hear that global warming was on a faster track than we had anticipated. And I think we all were feeling extremely helpless when we heard that news. And Richard takes helplessness and makes it into action, and that's one of the things that he has done consistently in the years that I've watched him. And he felt that we need to, as individuals and as a community, become more energy efficient in our way of living. And we can't all go out and build that perfect eco-house, but there are many things that we can do very inexpensively that not only save us money, but reduce our carbon footprint. So his vision, and that of his team, is to really make Colorado Springs a model green city. We got famous for being an anti-gay city, so why can't we be famous for being a green city? And he's really encouraging everyone to come down to 409 North Take Home, or to call up at 636-BULB, or get online at conservationhardware.org and find out how you can get involved in making your own home efficient, and also, if you get really inspired, adopting neighbors' homes and buildings and helping others become more energy efficient. So, again, thank you all. Thank you, Peace and Justice Commission, for this award. And again, he receives it as a member of a community of all of us who are doing work for the environment. Thank you.
Patricia. Well, we carry on with the Green Hall of Fame. Buckminster Fuller may have coined the term Spaceship Earth, but in this sector of the galaxy, the guy who keeps reminding everyone of the phrase is Mark Joyous. Mark began his career as a crew member on Spaceship Earth in 1972, and as class president, he convinced his high school to print graduation announcements on recycled paper. That's a great start. He soon took a job as a ranger in California's Redwood National Park. And after asking park visitors where they were from, he would produce the relatively new NASA photo of Earth from space and remind everyone, hey, we all hail from the same place. Disillusioned by budget cuts to forced re-education programs during the Reagan era, Mark migrated to Colorado. Thanks for coming, Mark. To enter the business world and invest in mountain real estate. He founded the Global View Foundation on the side, and he launched the Earth Seeds Project with the goal of putting a Planet Earth-style beach ball or NASA Earth poster in every classroom and church in the country. He has authored Spaceship Earth, a crew member's guide, as well as other books and educational materials. And one of his latest brainchildren is a sustainability bus, the SUS Bus network of mobile environmental education vehicles. Please welcome into the Green Hall of Fame, Mark Joyous.
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled and honored to be in this inaugural group, and just like Patricia was saying, we all know that it's teamwork that makes anything happen. I'd like to thank all the people who helped me in the past, because nothing gets done without teamwork. And, it's a way long list, usual, my family and my wife and so forth, but who put up with things while Dad was busy doing other things. And there's some other folks, Rob Bogotten, who helped us with the Earth Seeds Project. He's up in Boulder now working with Green Guru. It's such a wide list, and like Steve was saying, it's a community that puts us together. Rather than get into that whole spaceship Earth thing, I do think it's kind of interesting to stand here and think about how far we've come and how far we have to go. By show of hands, how many think the government's going to get us out of our current unsustainable mess? Just one. Like the glass is not half empty yet. There's always a good laugh with that, but I've learned it, and I'm not trying to knock the government out. I've been in the government, and some of you here are, and we are the government. We are the people. I guess that's my point. Whether you're a park ranger, I've spent some time at the Naval Academy and so forth, and been involved in the government. But the bottom line is, if we're going to do this, and we're going to have to, because it is the tipping point, it's going to be each of us on our own, and working together. And so I'd like to think that we can make this change, together. And the suspects and things like that I've done, they all add up. They mentioned a couple of those things, but really what's important, I think, is thinking in terms of, I think the sustainability concept someone mentioned here was like leaving something behind. I think we're out there in the buffet line is a good example. If you're in the front of the line, or you leave something behind, the dessert, whatever, you've got to find a way to make it real to yourself, because it's only going to change with one heart, one mind, one light bulb, one idea at a time. And the good news is we are at that tipping point. The bad news is we are at that tipping point. And so it depends on what you want to do with it. I like to say, as a surfer dude here, and I don't usually, most of my friends are laughing, they clean me up a bit. Surf's up, people. Surf's up. So what are we going to do? I grew up in Hawaii I surfed as a kid, and you can let the anxiety of riding a moving wave freak you out, or you can get into the excitement and fun. And I think that there's a whole lot of shaking going on. Use an old song thing going on here, and I'd like to encourage each of us to transform that anxiety that we felt and that we continue to feel into excitement, because finally the choir is getting larger. And there are things changing, and there are rumblings, and sure, there's going to be some interesting changes. So I used to use the word invite. My wife's real good at that. She's school counselor, because you want to not step on toes. I'd like to invite you to consider this idea. Of course, I think the time for invitations is past. I think it's time to challenge. I think we are being challenged. And you don't need as Bob Dylan said, you don't need a weatherman, you don't need a park ranger, you don't need much to know which way the wind blows these days. And the challenge certainly is to be green and sustainable, but more importantly for each of us to rise up to our own personal greatness. And I'd like to see, like Steve was mentioning, this Green Hall of Fame. I feel kind of silly out here because I know so many of you guys should all be up here. You got to start somewhere, I guess. But I look towards that day when we can all be in the Green Hall of Fame. We are working towards that, and it's happening. So if you need ideas, call us. That Global View Foundation, like they mentioned, we do the Planetary Classic. We're trying some interesting concepts. We always need board members, project managers. The Nobel Prize was given out for the microloan thing. We're trying to create green-collar jobs, especially with so many quality people out of work now, where they can use our 501c3 to create something new, mini grants and so forth. And let the soccer moms and whatnot try things out. So give us a call if you get some ideas. It's earthseeds.org. But more importantly, it's with every little thing. Whether the government does anything, or like Patricia and Richard were saying, imagine the impact if everybody changes one light bulb. It starts with you, it starts right here. So, like I say, surf's up, folks. Let's enjoy it. Let's not get too scared about it. And again, thank you so much for this community. I think Colorado Springs, we sometimes forget. We look around and think, there's 100 people, or we're not as big as Boulder, or whatever. I think that's a great thing. Colorado Springs, when I go around speaking around the country and so forth, people look at you funny because it's not a typical thing. Boulder, San Francisco, I can count, lots of places. We have an impact here. We can have an impact by doing things. Fountain, Manitou, the pilot letter that we're talking about. It's mainstream America. This is where they come to practice everything. If you've read the Fast Food Nation or some of the other great things we're known for. This is where you do your test marketing. This is literally middle class America.